Our host from Digicel is Ewart Atkinson. We have from YouTube Shorts, Brittany Lewis. We have from Jamaica National, Kevin Clark. We have Bizzle Osikoya from The Plug. Forbes The Culture, we have Rashad Lambert. From Meta, we have Cassandra Campbell. And like I said, our host, who is now taking the stage, is Mr. Ewart Atkinson.
Testing. Good evening, everyone.
YouTube Shorts, Brittany Lewis.
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
Brittany, finally, right?
Bizzle Osikoya. Rashad Lambert, I'm sorry. Cassandra Campbell, Meta. Kevin Clark, Jamaica National. And as you see, it's digital social media music marketing.
Over to me. All right, so we've been waiting since 2 p.m. and I think they saved the best for last. Social media marketing is one of those topics that we hold dearly. And after listening to all the persons speak, all the upcoming artists, I realized that there are so many young persons, young artists that should be leveraging this particular platform. So I did an entire presentation, but in the interest of time, we're just gonna go right into it. And what we want to do today is break down all the aspects of social media marketing and how young artists can literally take advantage of this particular channel. So I wanted to start with this particular question. How can social media level the playing field in the music industry? Open mic, let's start with Kevin first.
Thank you, Ewart. I think that social media actually allows musicians or any creative, gives them access to the world. And we have seen that with TikTok, where people are being exposed to musical expression from across the world in different languages. Everybody's now into Afrobeats, partly because of being exposed to it on platforms like TikTok. And I think that's one of the things when we talk about leveling the playing field, that persons are able to get access in a way that they never had before, and now they can even get discovered because of what they're doing on social media. Look at Coffee.
Look at Coffee. All right. You share the same sentiment, Cassie?
I share the same sentiment 100%. The game is access. If you don't have access, you can't participate. Social media, virtual, everything makes it clear and simple and easy to engage in. You just have to take the first step of participating, getting off the bench and getting involved.
I'm just going to chime in here and say, while it levels the playing field and gives people more access, it also gives consumers and fans more choice, right? So that's more time to get distracted with other artists. It causes artists to always have to be thinking about the next best thing or how they can trend, and maybe not necessarily the art, right? Not the music, because they are thinking about, how am I going to grab such and such's attention? How do I get more fans by doing X, Y, Z? So I do think like social media is the gift and the curse, right? Where we're able to communicate with people all around the world. But I think artists have gotten less original because of social media. They see what everybody else does and try to emulate that or copy that, because if they see an artist from Nigeria that's doing something really dope that's working, and you're from Flatbush in Brooklyn, you might think, oh, let me try that sound because that works for X, Y, and Z. And while I'm Nigerian American who lives in Brooklyn. And my experience might be a little different, but I know on the continent, this sound is working, so let me do that. When pre-internet, you would make music that was around your environment. And so I think, social media is, if you don't use it correctly, it can be a little bit of copy, paste, repeat.
I mean, you mentioned the fact that it may be a curse. Some of the artists that I've interacted with, it's all positive. So just expound on the fact of the curse.
On the curse? I deal with a lot of artists who are obsessed with reading the comments. The comments are very negative, that plays a toll on your mental health. Like, it's a spiral. All the art, like, I actually really enjoy not knowing, like, what the fuck Beyonce thinks or eats every day. Like, I really enjoy that. Like, that mystery, because a lot of these artists that we meet, it's like when you meet your heroes, right? And sometimes you're like, damn, like, you're not as cool as I thought you were.
You're right.
And it's because you're on the internet all day long. And you're telling me about your ups and your downs. And, like, I think there's a place where you can enjoy that transparency. But the other part is, like, I love you as an artist. And while I want to get to know you a little bit better as a human being, I don't have to know all of your character flaws. I don't need to know you're fighting with your baby mother. I don't need, like, that stuff has ruined people's careers.
It has.
And so I think that's the part that's the curse. I think there's always balance in life. And to me, being good at social media is about balance.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you on that. I work with an artist called CK, and I mean,
Oh, just CK.
yeah, no, I work with CK, I work with Davido, but I'm going to touch on CK because of social media. So CK had a big global hit, the Love 113 record. It's the biggest Afrobeat record to date, and he dropped the album last year, and the album has gone gold and silver in some countries, but because he doesn't have another big hit like Love 113, he's been depressed and he feels like he's a failure, his album is failed, and his album isn't working. But every day, people are online, a new song from his album just started trending in Nigeria, and we say to him, like, things are happening for you, but you keep focusing and trying to beat your own record, and, like, I don't think it happens twice. Like, it's very difficult. Like, he had the highest viewed Afrobeats video on YouTube, and now Rema just beat the views, and he got upset. He's like, yo, someone's beat my views, I need to do. And I'm like, it's not about beating views. At the end of the day, you're a musician, you're an artist to make great music for people to enjoy. If you start thinking about, oh, I have to I have to do this, then you're gonna end up just ruining the whole thing. So that's why I agree with her as well. It's a cost, because, like, a lot of artists now are getting mental health issues because they're reading all the comments and what people are saying, where you shouldn't bother about that.
I mean, there's something about even the comment section that you mentioned, Brittany. It can be horrendous.
It's nasty
It's
work.
nasty, all right? But
I mean, I'm with the gift and the curse thing too. I think, like, just to agree with this side and with this side, I feel like I'm in the middle. I'm like split between both sides.
Literally the middle.
But I look at it from a community perspective, right? As a tool for, like, a community building. Yeah. So I see the gift side because that is a gift. Are y'all, wait, I know y'all been here all day. Y'all still here with us? Can y'all hear me? Yes? All right, cool. I got some questions for y'all. What is Beyonce's fan club called? What is Rihanna's fan club called?
oh, they know it.
What is, all right, I'm going to give y'all a curveball. What is Ice Spice's? It's called the Spice Girls, right? Now, the reason why you know, and where do these fan clubs live? That's the question. Where do they live?
Social media.
They live on the internet, right? I am probably older than most of y'all here. I can't really see, but I think so. I remember a time when fan clubs were something that you had to, like, mail away for, and you got a sticker or something, and that was it, right? But now it lives on the internet. That's your community, right? That anytime that Beyonce, Rihanna, Ice Spice, anytime they do anything, these clubs are going to react. If you talk about them on the internet, they're going to have a response to it. Nicki Minaj has one also. It's called the Barbies. Like, every one of these groups has these acts, has a community that's built around them. And the positive side of it is that you can drop anything and they're going to react in a positive way, even if it's not good, I guess, good or bad. The curse side of that is the same thing, is that now you literally can't say anything about this person because you might have to leave the internet. Like, I've seen a couple of people where they spoke against one of these artists and their messages and their mentions and DMs and everything, like death threats, all kinds of stuff. Because these people take this stuff really seriously. And going to what he was saying about on the mental health aspect is that a lot of times this is their community because a lot of these people don't have a community or they don't have friends or things like that at home. And I'm not saying this to like disrespect anybody, but I'm talking about a real thing. Like we saw this come to life in 2020, right? When everybody was locked in the house and, you know, they were giving out the messages that say like, oh, check on your people, check on your, you know, friends. And there were people that I had communication with and they're like, oh, I don't have any family to check on. I don't have anybody to check on or nobody to check on them, right? So if they didn't have a community like, say, like a Forbes of Culture, right? If they didn't have that community, they wouldn't have any communication with anybody. And you put those people on the internet, and now all of their social cues and interactions are off because a lot of the younger people never had to interact and spend time in the schoolyard or outside or any of those sort of things. All of their interactions are on the internet, right? So it can be a great tool if utilized properly, if you create a community around it, but it can also work against you if you don't utilize it properly.
Quick one, Rashard. You're on the floor now. In terms of Forbes, now I know Forbes, the Forbes magazine, I know different aspects of Forbes, but what exactly does Forbes have to do with even the social media aspect?
So Forbes is a media agency, right? I mean, it's a media brand. People know it as Forbes magazine, but now it's, you know, essentially known as Forbes Media. It's one of the largest media brands in the world, and on social media, even Forbes is not exempt, as you mentioned within the comment section. Yeah. Every time that Forbes, you know, Forbes main the main like Instagram page probably has like somewhere around like 5 or 6 million followers. And when I first came and they did an announcement about my position or like anytime I win an award or I'm doing something and they post me, the comment section shows who the people are that follow this page because I won't even say the stuff that say the names I've been called or things that have been said in those comment sections. So on social media, even if you have a strong, large brand, if not mediated properly, it still can lead to that same thing. So, I mean, I guess the only thing that I would say that is the connection here, like if you saw recently, Meg Thee Stallion was the first black woman to be on the cover of Forbes magazine for 30 under 30 issue. Y'all can clap for that if you want.
Which is crazy.
Right. It's wild. It's 105 years later. But the reason that, and those were some of the comments. There was a lot of comments that were positive because she got the hotties. You know, that's her. That's her fan
you expect
club.
the balance, though. You expect the balance between some negative comments and some, you know, positive.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even as a Forbes, it doesn't matter how big you are, right? It's not like you get to a certain point and people won't say like negative things about you, right? Even if this is one of the biggest media brands that covers all the business people all across the world, if you look at the comments, you would not think that's what it is. You would think that this is like a swap meet, like because that's what the comment section is. One, I heard a couple people throughout this conference mention like AI and bots and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times you're not dealing with actual people, you're dealing with bots. So what those like communities do is they help you to use the algorithm in your favor, because if it's overly positive, then I've seen the bots go positive. If it's overly negative, I've seen the bots go negative. They're kind of programmed to follow what the trend is. So if you can find a way to make it trend positively, which is why you see, and any of my label people this here, I'm sorry, it's not a secret though, but like when you see the artist posting to their fan club, like, yo, I'm dropping this song at this time, make sure you pre-save it, make sure you like it, make sure you share it with 3 people, and you like it and you share it, and you like they got a whole system to tell you how to make this thing trend in a positive way. And if you look at that as a model, I'm not saying copy it, but I'm also not saying ignore it, because it's obviously working. So if you can look at what they're doing on a massive scale and make it work for you on a smaller level as an unsigned artist, as a newer artist, then I say go for it. I'm not saying go get a farm, but they exist too.
Do not get a farm.
Yeah.
Because I work at YouTube and we have technology for the farms.
Terrible.
So that's why sometimes you'll see artists, I won't name any, but who will have a certain amount of views at a certain amount of time, and they're like, oh, y'all, we broke these records. And YouTube's technology is like, no, you didn't. And adjusting for, artificial farming and streaming and all that jazz. So.
One thing I wanted to ask too. This was the last person. Does anybody here know who Yeat is?
Yes.
1, 2,
Except
3.
you.
Okay, not a lot, right? But Yeat is an unsigned artist or underground artist who has a community. I don't think his fans have a name yet, but I'm sure if you come up with it, it might be the Yeat Gang, I don't know, something. But Yeat broke 1 billion streams, right? And people were trying to figure out how he did it because, again, if you ask 10 hip-hop fans, 10 rap music fans, maybe one of them knows who Yeat is. But that's a prime example is that his fan base, and this was the other key thing, is that his streaming numbers come from a smaller pool than people that you normally see reach 1 billion streams, which everybody thought, they thought farms and bots and all of that. But a lot of it is that his fan base is loyal and they listen to the same songs over and over. And songs are only like 2 minutes now. So like how many times can you listen to that? But that's what it is. And just that number of people that I saw who said they didn't know who it is just proof of that model working, of like creating. I think somebody on one of the last panels asked like who creates for an audience when they go in the studio. Like if you're creating your music for your people and you're focused on your audience and really digging into that niche, then they're going to react to that because you already know what they like and what they want. And if you give them that, then that's how you build your community. At least that's how I would see it.
Rashad, you mentioned trend probably 3 or 4 times. I know even for young artists, there's always a quest to do something that is trending. Is there a formula for trends?
I think one, I always get questions from artists about how do I get trending on YouTube? How do I get top artists on YouTube? There's no one formula, right? If we're thinking about a YouTube Shorts, for instance, or if you're thinking about a TikTok, I think people trend who, one, are doing something that's authentic for themselves, that is maybe funny, right? If we're thinking about trending positively and not negatively. Something that other people feel like they can be a part of, so something that's inclusive and that you can do too. And I think with the internet, I think a lot of kids are obsessed with like, how do I get that quick high of trending? How do I get that fame? And then not realizing, sometimes on the other side is people love to go digging in your tweets from 15 years ago to then take you down. So,
and often it just happens. When it comes to trends, it just happens. How many persons know A Beautiful Day done by Rashawn? So A Beautiful Day done by Rashawn, that's a rendition from, I think is Jermaine Edwards. So that particular song it's almost like a remake.
Yeah.
And that song racked up almost 1 billion views in 2 months, as opposed to the original song that had 15 million views in 8 years. So sometimes you mention the authenticity of it. Oftentimes these things just happen. Yeah. There's no real formula, but just to get your take, Cassie, is there perhaps a recommendation or something you would say to get trending or be on the spot?
No, I think the more you tap into who you are, your identity, your origin story, what you seek to do, to echo my colleague earlier, we're in a space of testing and learning. We're in a space of people being really bold, brave, and courageous, trying new things. There's a lot of new technologies emerging. You don't know what's gonna be hot. What's hot today won't be hot tomorrow, but it might be a week from now or a year from now. So there really isn't a formula, but there is, like I said, in the beginning, you gotta try, you gotta participate, you gotta get off the bench. I work with small businesses, but the lines are being blurred between small businesses, creators, and musicians. Like, it's all the same. Everybody's trying to do something. Whether I'm trying to get you to buy this pen or I'm trying to get you to buy my song, it's the same thought process. So what I encourage my brands that I run ads, I work on monetization products at Meta, what I encourage everyone to do is sell something. Look at what you're doing as something you're selling, and when you think about it that way, first do the creation. I know artists are real specific about creating, okay? Create the thing. But when you're looking to sell it and market it, who is it for? That's the question.
True.
So you never know what's going to trend. That's
One thing I just want to add to that. So when she spoke about like monetization products, so as artists, once you are on a platform and you get any type of notoriety, it could be 5 people, right? Somebody is going to send you a DM or send you an email that they have this opportunity for you and they can put you on all these places. Do not buy views. We talked about, we like lightly glazed over
Can we say
AI
that again?
and streaming farms and all of that. But I mean, if y'all want to dig in, we could dig in because this is a safe space, right? But do not buy views. Do not buy streams. Do not buy likes. Do
Followers.
not pay for any of those
Don't.
things.
Facts.
Those are not real
Facts.
people. And it does not translate. The
In real
worst
life.
thing, one of the horror stories, and I feel like somebody might have mentioned it, but like when you do that type of stuff, and if somebody if there's a booking agent and they see, oh, this person is popping in all these places, and they book you and they put you in that place, and nobody shows up, that is the other side of that. So now you spent all of that money for no reason. So that would be my list of like don'ts.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I would also say just like, nobody can get you on any playlist either. So don't pay any money to get on anybody's playlist. It is a scam. So I just want to add that too. And
oh no, there's a long list.
And just,
It's a long
there's
list
one
of
more
things.
because I was going to say I'm going to add something too. Because when you buy these followers, when you buy these likes, these comments, the engineers at like our companies are trying to find ways to get these people
Get rid
off
of
the
it.
platform.
Yes.
So you'll see the uptick one day, and then it'll just suddenly drop. You wonder what happened to all those followers? What happened to all those likes? We kicked them off the platform. So now you got to go back. And truthfully, the AI is getting intelligent enough to recognize that you're buying your followers. So we don't want your content to be ranked higher in the algorithm. We don't want to show your content more. So you don't want that. You know, so I'll just
Yeah, and then you
I'm
can shadow
actually
ban.
glad the conversation went here, and I'm going to put Kevin on the spot a second.
shadow ban.
Yeah, that's a. It's
not a thing, but
Listen,
it is
this
a
is.
thing.
It's not a thing.
It's not a
Yo,
thing,
that's
but it is a thing.
this
Okay,
It's not a
it's-
thing.
I'm so glad this
Okay,
came up
the-
because
okay, I get this asked all the time.
I can answer it.
about shadow banning. Artists are like,
What's that?
my content is being shadow banned.
Yeah, what is it?
Okay, so shadow banning is basically the theory that your content is being suppressed
Right.
for based off of whatever content that you have, right? So, for instance, most people or artists or creators or influencers claim to be shadow banned after they do controversial things, after they create content that is explicit or violent, or like the list goes on of things that you probably shouldn't be posting on the internet.
Right.
There's no such thing as like, oh, such and such did X, Y, and Z, and now they're on the list of being shadow banned. What happens is like the technology that our companies create have all of these markers in the algorithm of things that like, oh, this is positive, we should elevate this or promote this. When things have like guns, if there's sex, if there's any kind of like weird porno or like violence, our systems notice that, and that's content that our systems want to suppress. So it's not like a thing where, I don't know, who's the latest artist that said they've gotten shadow banned?
all of them.
All of
that's
them.
That's what I was going to add to it. Is that it is it's like an ego thing, right?
Exactly.
It is people of the mindset that they are so important to these platforms that they have somebody in a room
That's
somewhere
like, yes.
who is like, oh, this person, nobody's going to see this. I'm pushing the button on you today. There's a big red button in that room, and they push it and go, nobody sees your content. And just like you said,
Yeah.
it comes after they do something with guns and drugs and all that stuff because they're trying to go viral.
Yep.
So when they think that that's going to work and then it doesn't, then they blame the platform and say, this thing that I seen other people do that worked is not working for me, so I must be shadow banned. And they don't realize that, just like, she said, that the AI is becoming more intelligent, but it's still in beta. It's not like it's not perfected yet. So some things may slip through, right? It may end up going viral. And then when he was talking about a formula, what I would say is that the only formula, if there is a formula that I've seen, is people who have a large following. If there's a piece of content that is circulated within a certain time frame, these people that have these hundreds of thousands and millions of followers, then yes, it may go viral because they were posting it within a certain time frame, but not necessarily because this is the most dynamic piece of content. It's not the best freestyle. It's not the best dirty mirror selfie. It's not because of that. It's just because of the timing of it and because of the people that you have showing it. When they first were created, when Meta was the Facebook and the data scientists were trying to figure out how to transition it from a college platform into mass market, one of the things that they were trying to do is figure out what they were going to call, the people that you connect with. And on Facebook, it's called friends. But then on these other platforms, it's followers. And then followers became the thing going forward because literally these people are following trends. So if there is a trend that is created by the people that have the larger followings, that is going to lend itself to becoming something that goes viral.
So Rashard, stop at followers. Now, I've worked with corporate entities who see followers almost like a currency. So they'll work with artists who have a certain level of followers. Yeah. My thing, and perhaps this question is for you, Kevin, you being the local corporate here. How do you select an influencer to work with? Is it a case where you are looking at the follower count? How do you do it? How would you suggest it being done?
All right, so I think it starts by actually, and a lot of the work that needs to be done isn't. It starts by really having some kind of framework of understanding of what you are looking for in an influencer. Because the numbers, everything that you guys have said, people can buy, they can buy followers, they can almost try to buy engagement, which doesn't work. And so we don't just look at the numbers that you have, but we also want to get a sense of what is your appeal, first of all. What are the connections with our brand? Mm-hmm. Do we see the world from the same perspective, or do the people that are attracted to you, are they people that we want to be associated with and that we want to also attract? Are they in our target groups? Are they in our customer segments? Mm. And then when we want to get down to brass tacks and look at the numbers, what exactly is going on in your social media? Now, thankfully, that assessment takes place a lot of times for creators and influencers, right? And I hate that demarcation because I think musicians are the original influencers. Yes. Moving culture and everything forward for so long. But musicians, they come with something else. They have a built-in point of view. They're musicians. Their work is novel. They create content, literally. Their music is sometimes culturally relevant to the point where we will take somebody on. I think sometimes we're actually attracted to their music first. Mm. So we want to be associated with your music and everything that people feel from that. And then we look at the numbers. And I think it's also some money being left on the table by musicians, because I don't believe that they're actually tying in their social media following into some of the contracts that they're signing with us. So we take you at face value. In Jamaica, I can speak anyway, at face value and say, all right, you're big, we know you, you have a hit song right now, you're trendy, you're making music, people are dancing, but I don't think they factor in the value of the audience that they have and the possibilities, because we do look at that, but going deep sometimes, I find that some corporates may not be looking as deep into the opportunities that come from these audiences. And a suggestion, I think, for musicians to take it further. We spoke about building community. Yeah. I think we need to start owning those communities and taking it off social media, because, like Kanye, your social media can be taken away. So when you are building those communities, and Beyonce has been masterful at this. She has a website. She has a mailing list. Yeah. Start small, but actually start there. Because if you are able to now quantify and give us a number and say, hey, I have a mailing list of 100,000 people, and I know that when I have a merch drop, they buy. Yes. You have Kevin, something to sell.
They're actually getting smarter, because I've done some negotiations with some artists, and they say, look, you want this, but I also have access to that.
Yes.
And so they're actually getting really smart.
Exactly, and we do have some good people guiding some of our artists,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that there are so many more opportunities, and they shouldn't see influencers as competition, because again, artists are the blueprint, and they have so much content that we can use just by existing.
Yeah. I want to echo something you said, like to drive the point home more, because you are absolutely right. Artists, they put out music. What else can you sell in addition to that or own? Actually, let me talk about it from two different angles. One side is owning your followers are Instagrams, to be honest. It's our followers. It's our platform. They're coming on our platform to follow you because you have content that's interesting. But at the end of the day, you see it. When Instagram goes down, sometimes people's lives shut down. We saw it. I see it happen a lot. They're like, I couldn't go live today and my life is over. Own your email list, okay? Own your email list. Get your website. Get your places where you can huddle. And now you see there's other platforms. I'm drawing a blank at the name, but it's almost like similar to the marketing funnel. It's like you're warming your audience in a similar manner. You're starting at the broadest part, awareness, but that's like your Instagram, your Facebook. This is my community. But the people who really, mess with you, they're down to hang with you, you take them somewhere exclusive.
Like
and you
Patreon.
charge, like Patreon, that's the one. You take them to Patreon, and they will pay a monthly fee just to kick back and talk with you and have access to you. So these are opportunities to monetize your social media. On the other side, I'm sorry, everybody should have merch, in my opinion. It's low-hanging
Agreed.
fruit. It's a low-hanging fruit opportunity, and it's cheap. It's very cheap. You just have to find something you like. I'm a makeup artist. I love makeup. So one day I will have some lip liners that I'm selling just because I love it. And people who ask me, what do you have on? It's an easy way for me to say, hey, it's mine. So, purchase it from me. And your followers want to do that. They want to support you. This is the kind of economy we're living in right now, where we're buying from our friends. We're buying from people, right across the way. We don't have to go down. We don't really have to go to Target or Walmart. Okay, sometimes we're last minute. We got to plan
You'll
ahead.
definitely have to
Let
go
me
to
not say all
Target,
of that,
though.
but
We going to
sometimes,
Target.
we could just buy from our friends. We could just buy from our friends. So there's opportunity there, and I think everyone, when you leaving here, monetize yourself. Find ways to do that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I was gonna say, also too, the thing is, find creative ways. I know that we're on the internet and you see such and such doing something and they're selling T-shirts. Maybe I should sell T-shirts, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't, right? Think about what you like and what's unique to you, and then figure out, how can I make this a business, or is there a part of my life that I am not sharing, or whatever the case may be that people may find interesting, because you also want people to play smart, right, and just not copying folks based off of what they see works for other people. I was reading an article about this influencer who had over 1 million followers, and she was supposed to be launching this clothing line. You know what I'm talking about. And this company invests in her. She has 1 million followers, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be great. They invest, they get all of the merch together. They launch the merch. Sis only sold 30 pieces.
Yeah.
And it's how in the world are you only moving 30 units of your clothing and you have 1 million followers? Where's the disconnect? So also just figure out what people want. Because people might not want T-shirts from you. You're a photographer. I want a photo book. I want a coffee table book of your best work. Why are you selling me clothes? So those are some things that you guys just need to be mindful of. Who are you, and what would your followers or fans, friends, whoever, what do they actually want from you?
And let's just say, we're talking about product. If you have an audience, you can use that audience to test. So you have your Instagram page, and I have to name drop somebody, Spice. Everybody knows Spice, right?
Yeah.
I think Spice does that masterfully. She has a line.
She's
and
a genius.
She
is.
puts it out there, and I think when she designed her logo, she was like, "Best is, what's this, and what do you like?" And she's putting it in your face. You're able to give your feedback, and that's product and market testing, right there, free research.
And just to add to that, what B was saying about knowing your audience, like knowing what you want and what you want to put out and how you want to represent your brand, but then also knowing your audience and what they want, I'm gonna talk about Beyonce again. So
We love Beyonce.
Beyonce, two things on two separate sides. One, this is about the owning your community, and then also on like knowing your audience. Beyonce knows her audience very well. It's why they are the Beehive, because she knew that people were calling her Queen Bee. She didn't make that up on her own. People started calling her that, and she just rolled with it, right? Beyonce sells women's clothing, right? Everything outside of her music is geared towards women. She's not selling brushes and Afro picks and combs for men's. She's not selling men's beard product. Like, she's selling directly to her audience because she knows that is what they want. Ivy Park, all of that stuff is geared towards that audience. On the flip side of owning that audience, has anybody here tried to get Beyonce tickets?
Yes, actually.
All right, so
Took me 40 minutes yesterday, but I was successful.
Oh, you got them?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, everybody make some noise for Brittany. She got Beyonce tickets. So the reason I bring that up is because if you don't know, there's a process right now to get Beyonce tickets. And what she's trying to do is to break away from the bots that when you go on the Ticketmaster and you try to buy, if you've ever tried to buy anything recently, just like the sneakers app, just like anything else, all the bots have taken over, and the resale prices are so high that there's not a lot of actual fans getting to go to the show, right? That's the reason that's being put out publicly. What I think, and I have no knowledge of this, so don't quote me on it, but also listen to what I'm saying, because I know what I'm talking about. Beyonce is doing one of the greatest data captures that I've seen
1,000%.
in the history of marketing, because Ticketmaster and their partners is a huge beast in this game. If you are doing concerts, if you're doing festivals, you have to use them.
They almost have a monopoly on the market.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say that.
Yes.
Maybe they do.
Yeah. The Congress is getting involved. But
Absolutely. Now, once you go through this process, you either join the Hive or you do this, you've got to become a verified fan to be able to purchase these tickets. And where does all that information go? To Beyonce. It's not going to Ticketmaster, it's going to Beyonce. So when this is a world tour, right? This is the first part of this world tour. She's going to add shows. She's already added shows based on looking at the data that you are providing to her. We live here. We need an additional show because there's another 100,000 people who want to come see her, and this one show is not going to fit them all. Oh, we live in this area, and there was no show here. Now we're going to add one here. And then when we talked about merch, you're going to get an email. If you didn't get it already, you're going to get an email that's not going to say Ticketmaster.
Merch
it's going to be
presale.
from Beyonce.com, and it's going to be merch, a direct link. Now, that's all profit, right? When you sell your merch directly, you profit more than if you do drop shipping. Of course, that's fine too. That's it makes it easier. But all of these are ways, and of course, I know that a lot of artists are not Beyonce, but listening to the methodology of what she's utilizing, like she's finding a way to get her followers off of social media into a database so that she can monetize that and figure out ways to reach them and go direct to consumer. I would not be surprised if, as we're looking at the Oculuses and these things in the future, if Beyonce decides to do virtual concerts, then she can, because she has all your email addresses now, and she can reach out to you directly instead of just having to post it and wait for you to respond to it.
yeah, and I would say like anybody from like Beyonce or even a party promoter, right? Like if you throw parties, the emails that you get from people signing up to come to your parties, that is your leverage. That's your bread and butter. A lot of my friends who throw parties and promote will never give you their contacts, ever. They're like, can you share? No, I'm not giving you any information on any of the people that come to my shit because it's mine, and I've worked really hard to get these 10,000, 20,000 people in this network that I use. So just be mindful of like getting people's information and data is very important. I mean, obviously that's what like all the tech companies do. Like, and it's also the reason why if you start talking about Tasties and you open up your Instagram app and the ad of Tasties will pop up. Like all that stuff matters. So make sure you guys are keeping track of your data with your fans.
co-signing to what she said about the Dada thing. In Nigeria, me and my partners have one of the biggest festivals, and all the brands want to work with us because the people that come to the festivals are between the ages of 17 to 24, and those are the ages that all the brands want. So all the banks, all the telcos, they all want to come to us every time to partner with us because we have at least about 20,000 people come to our event monthly. So they're like, okay, look, you guys have these guys, we want them. And we don't share the data with them, so they have to give us money so they can, use our platform to advertise.
So, Bizzle, I want to stay with you. You've worked with some pretty big artists, Davido being one. How have they leveraged the power of social media? I know Afrobeats is pretty huge in Jamaica, but from your artist side, how have they leveraged the power of social media?
Well, to be honest, I feel like Afrobeats in general, social media has been a huge impact on Afrobeats. Like, it's helped Afrobeats get global. Like, Davido and CK have performed in almost every country in the world because of social media. So I think it's really impacted their lives a lot. Like, there's artists in Nigeria now who put out one song and the whole world knows about them. They don't have to, wait for months or years. Back in the day, like, for me, I moved back to work in Nigeria because of how I heard dancehall music in the club when I was in UK or in the US. And I'm like, yo, Nigerian music is good. It can get global. So I moved back to Nigeria. I was helping a lot of the artists get on MySpace back in the day. And then moved from MySpace to Twitter to Instagram. And those things have really helped. And TikTok now, like, there's artists in Nigeria that will put out music now and it's like everywhere. Yesterday I heard a song from an artist in Nigeria that he put out his first single in November, and his song is already being played in Jamaica. So for me, that's a big thing. It's really, really impacted Afrobeats music, and I feel like the rest of the world should really, learn from that to see how.
I mean, we're running out of time, but I want to draw your attention to Cassie 1 second. We had a pretty interesting conversation in the back. And from a digital advertising state, what I want to know, as young artists, is there a role for digital advertising if you're just starting out? What can they do to sort of incorporate that into their overall strategy?
I think it's everything we've mentioned up here, like getting started, being present, like being on the platform is step one, right? What that looks like is personal to you. As long as you are consistent, if content is king, consistency is queen. So you got to be committed to posting the content, and or creating the content, and you got to be consistent with posting the content. So I think at a minimum, as a young emerging artist, like, you want to find your fans. So just getting on the platform, posting, creating content to drum up this audience. Don't focus on the numbers to start. Do not. They will come. Trust me. But be authentic and put it out there. Get the feedback, because the feedback is what's going to make you better. You're going to, you don't know where it's going to come from. It could be your friends. It could be somebody across the globe that saw it and was like, hey, I like this, and they say something to you that inspires you to do something else. So I think at a minimum, incorporating social media, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to be the best thing never found. So if I'm on Instagram, if you're not on Instagram, but I'm on Instagram, how do I find you? Okay. So, but I also say that with a little bit of hesitancy, because I think some people are overwhelmed at, like, do I got to do this, that, that? And it's like, no. Do what you feel comfortable with. Pick 1, pick 3, pick 5 if you're comfortable, but commit and do it consistently. As you're starting your journey into the social media world, and really the journey to meeting people who love what you do.
Can I second that too? Like, what you said, Cass, is what I tell people every day. Like, all my artists are YouTube. Consistency is key, especially when you're creating content. I think in the panel before, there was a young lady in the audience that expressed being burnt out from creating content, especially like on YouTube, because it does matter, right? The more consistent you are with uploading, commenting, liking, getting on YouTube Shorts, and kind of creating that flywheel on your channel, it does make a difference, right? Your views do go up. You have more engagement on your channel. And that's what we tell artists, keep your channel hot. You gotta keep your channel hot. Don't let your channel get cold. And I know that artists get burnt out from that. So my suggestion always is to artists is bank your content. So if you know that for the next few months you wanna be super active, schedule out a week where you shoot as much content as you can. Make sure you get an editor, whoever, start editing that content, and then create a schedule. So people are thinking that you're always on, and you're not. You're like, I'm chilling on the beach, and I'm uploading. Yes, I just scheduled this upload to my channel, but I'm not actually behind the computer right now. It's already scheduled, and it's going up when it needs to go up. So just make sure you guys are banking your content when you do feel like you're burnt out. And also, it's a money saver. You know, if you got an editor, director, producer, shooting all that content at the same time and then divvying it out later is more cost effective than having to create a new set every single time, every month. You got to do something new. Just bank the content, come up with the ideas, bank the content, and then schedule it out.
I just want to add to that. In terms of the burnout, I know we started this conversation by focusing on the mental health part of it, where a lot of artists are focusing on the numbers and the likes and the followers. I think it's important for artists and anybody online to focus more on the engagement, because the audience will come, but focus on the engagement, because you might be approached by a corporate entity who is interested in your small but highly engaged audience, because that's actually much more valuable than 1 million followers and only 30 outfits sold. So focus on being engaging when the opportunity arises and build on that, because the audience will come.
So as you mentioned engagement, I'm going to now throw it out to the floor. Any questions for the panel? Guy in orange.
He's up at the top.
Yeah, man, greetings. My name is Yared. I'm a music producer. So you guys kind of touched on this in different parts, but I kind of wanted to see if I could get like a summary, especially towards Bizzle, Brittany, and Cassandra. So we know that there's no formula for going viral, but because, you know, the host, Ewart, mentioned that it could happen at any time, when you have a piece of work or a post or like a song or something that does go viral, can you give kind of like a roadmap of like next steps that you can take to make full advantage of that viral moment? I know for sure you guys definitely have experience with that, or especially you, Bizzle, with CK.
Bizzle, go for it.
What are things that you did, or what are things that you wish you had done when you get the moment?
Okay, so when music goes viral for a lot of the artists we work with, we try to engage more influencers to see what spiked the song going viral. If it was a dance or if it was like a funny video, we try and engage more influencers to be able to do the same thing, so to keep it going. Because like she said, consistency. A lot of people want to see the same thing, and once you see that, automatically, like the algorithms on the platforms continue to show you the same thing, and then you realize that everyone is getting into it. Like, we used to work with an artist called Oxlade. We put out so many records, we tried so many challenges, nothing worked. And he did a video with colors, and he was just moving his hand, and before you knew it, it became a challenge. Everyone started doing it. So it's like you never really know what works, but once you see something working, try and amplify more people to make it, impactful.
Yeah, and I also would say, like, make sure you also don't get in the moment of, like, with CK, right? Like, he went viral, and then now he feels like he has to chasing that high. Don't worry about it. Once you go viral once, trust me, you'll probably go viral again. It's just not gonna look the same way. It's not gonna show up the same way.
The one thing I would add, and that was a great point, Brittany, about the chasing virality. I've seen it. It happens one time, and then all of a sudden, that's the new benchmark that the business owner or the creator is chasing. It's not going to look like that the next time around. It may not. So what I do know is that I have a business owner. She sells T-shirts. She's one of those. But every once in a while, her business will go viral on TikTok. And you know what she does? She launches a new T-shirt. a new logo. And while that's going viral, she's putting out like, even if the t-shirt hasn't been designed, she doesn't even have it physically in her hand, she'll put out a teaser to her audience like, what do y'all think about this? She'll use the moment to get data from her audience, whether it's a sticker on her stories about like what's interesting. Like she'll get some learnings from her audience to then inform her next business decision.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Front.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify one thing. Verified fan is actually a Ticketmaster thing, not a specific Beyonce thing. As somebody who has an account and love to go to concerts and always trying to get tickets, and also somebody who works with touring artists with Ticketmaster and Live Nation and such, I want to just clarify that. So basically, it's something they put in place so that the scalpers and those people don't buy tickets, because you know people want to go on and buy 100 tickets and then try to sell them back. So the whole thing is that they're trying to get people to verify that they're a fan and go that way, as opposed to just randomly trying to buy all these tickets. So there was a big mess with Taylor Swift, and the whole world fell down. And so now when it's the boss time, when it's Beyonce's time, they're like, we better fix this up.
Yeah.
So the whole verified fan thing is not a Beyonce thing. It's definitely something that's always there for the artist, the management to choose to do through Ticketmaster. So it's actually a Ticketmaster thing.
No. Thank you for clarifying that. I wasn't one again. I love Beyonce. I'm not trying to speak anything bad about her. I don't want y'all to try to kill me after this. I wasn't giving her credit for verified fan. I was saying that the additional layer that she put on top of verified fan, which was the Bayhive like fan engagement piece, that is different from what I've seen other artists do. Like most of the artists don't do anything within that piece to drive the fans to their website. It's usually, it stays within them, the Ticketmaster or like Citi or Verizon or whoever. This is something specific where she's taking them off of that platform and driving them towards her platform to be able to verify, that if you're my fan, then sign up for this, Bayhive thing. So that's all.
I think question there.
Here.
Yeah, she was rearing to go.
Hi again, everybody. And Jerry, NJ Music One. I'm a musician, but on the side, as a doctor, I manage medical healthcare marketing, social media marketing. I have been able to use websites such as Facebook's ad space. I don't remember the names right now because I'm familiarizing myself with them. To bulk post in bulk. Do that scheduling that we all need sometimes when we need a break. So I recognized early on I couldn't keep up. So that's what I'm trying to do these days. And I just wanted to know, Brittany, as well as Cassandra, if you'd like to comment, what are your thoughts on sites such as, competing sites, I know, such as Hootsuite or versus, say, a Facebook Meta that could, just give us creators, content creators, just a short break whenever we need it from the social media.
You like how I feel about you do incorporating that into your mix. I should be asking you, is it making your life easier?
The thing is that specifically with Facebook, I've just been trying to watch YouTube videos to learn the jargon that goes along with it.
It is a world.
We initially worked with a marketing agency and we had a bit of difficulty regaining ownership. Yeah. But I've found that watching those YouTube videos
Shout out to YouTube University.
Has helped to make it just break it down for me a bit more.
Yeah, so. What I will say is congratulations. You're managing your time. Time is money, so that's important. But I think if it's working for you, fabulous. There's a bunch of them out there that you can leverage to post on your behalf. The one thing that I've seen some people run into, and I'll just state this, and I know it will cause some questions, follow-up questions. I can answer them later, just in the interest of time. When you decide to run ads, okay, and you have this third-party thing that's posting on your behalf, sometimes the algorithm thinks it's a bot. It's something's wrong. It thinks
Yeah.
Oh,
something's
really?
wrong.
That's what I was
So your
wondering.
ads will get rejected. I've seen some clients, their ads start getting rejected, and things happen. Typically, we're getting to a place now where it fixes itself. So maybe one day the ads don't run. Or they're rejected, but then when you go to run it again, it does run. But what I've seen in my tickets is that, this person uses a third party to post on their behalf, so it looks funky to the system, and you could run into a small issue. It's not a big issue, but it might be causing some thrash from a ads promotion perspective, or something getting rejected, blocked, yada, yada, yada.
Cassie, thanks for that. That's
Yeah.
actually new.
I just want to add, as a user of third-party platforms, I'm not going to advertise any. You can do a simple Google search to look for third-party CMS. But a rule of thumb for us is we use the platforms for core work. So for Twitter, we use Twitter's ad platform to advertise there. For Facebook, we use their ad platform to advertise. We don't use third parties because it's about the data protection aspect as well. And while we're talking about emails, that came into mind because in the financial industry, we actually have penalties for data protection. I think while we're talking about getting people's emails and their data, that's something that people have to be very clear on, that you have to find ways to protect the data that you're collecting. And it's cool to just say you're not going to share your list, but you also need to protect what you do have. Because the GDPR regulations in Europe are punitive to a fault. So I don't know about America, but I know that for Europe, it's bad.
And the penalties are pretty hefty.
Pretty steep. So getting the data is one thing, protecting it and keeping it safe is also very important. But back to the point, use the core platform. So Creator Studio, Business Manager, etc.
Yeah, you can schedule everything in YouTube. So
Yeah, let me add to that. So one last thing, Hootsuite, all of those programs, they're great, right? They're great. They make your life easier. I've like maybe I guess in the past 20 years I've been in marketing. I've seen these platforms. I've seen them develop. I've seen them come. I've seen them go. What I would say is don't get married to any individual third party app. Like create the mindset from it, like basically like I'm creating a calendar, like take the tools and utilize it to add it into your like repertoire, but don't get married to any of those platforms. Because the one thing that I've seen across like social media in general over the course of time is that there's no honor among thieves. So if they see something that they like, I'm saying if there's a platform and they see something that another platform is doing and they like it, they will take it, or they'll acquire that platform, or they'll make it go away. They'll buy them and make them disappear. And now those same tools will be they'll be available somewhere else. So just don't think like this is the only platform. This is the only one. I know Hootsuite is one of the most popular ones, but there's some others that work just as well that they may not be around long. Before you were able to schedule posts like in these actual apps, there were third-party apps that had scheduling in them because they were able to use that same like API, and now they don't exist anymore because it's built into the platform. So.
And I think it's a pretty valid point. A lot of these third parties, they are useful and they do in fact make your life easy. It's just to select which one works for you. So we did in fact get the signal to wrap up. I think this was a pretty interesting session. I'm glad you guys...
Before you wrap up, can I end with one thing? It'll be really quick, I promise.
I got the neck.
I have one more panel coming up. But good with the one thing.
All right, cool. Just really quick. So it's a story. I promise it'll be quick, right? Has anybody ever heard the story of the eagle and the dodo bird? Anybody know the story? No? Okay, it's going to be quick. I'll give you the short version. So basically, just close your eyes if you're not already asleep. But close your eyes and just imagine that there's a big open field. There's an eagle flying overhead, and there's a dodo bird that's walking through the field. The dodo bird, if you're not familiar, they walk with their heads down in the grass, right? The eagle is screaming down at the dodo bird, yo, look up, look up, look up. You're about to reach, like, you know, you're headed towards a calamity. You're going to the end, right? Because this dodo bird doesn't realize that at the end of this tall grass is a cliff, and this dodo bird is going off the cliff. So the eagle is screaming. It's trying to get the dodo bird to stop. The dodo bird will not stop. It keeps going. It goes to the edge, falls off the edge, dies, right? And that's how that's the story of how they became extinct. When I think about that, right, I think about how the music industry has treated the island of Jamaica, right? I feel like a lot of times the music industry outside of the island thinks of itself as the eagle and thinks of Jamaica as the dodo bird, right? And it's trying to guide them and tell them where to go. But I think it's actually in the reverse. I think that the industry is the dodo bird and that Jamaica is the eagle, and that the music industry here should be guided by the people that are here that know it best, and that they can actually tell the industry where to go and warn them of the cliff versus it being the other way
Pretty
around.
profound.
So I
Thanks
just
for
wanted
that.
to share that. It's just something that from these past couple of days, it's just something that came to me, and I wanted to share that. So it's good to listen to everybody else and get like technical specifics, but you guys really know this industry and know these people and know your artists and know this creative space better than everybody else does. So if whatever you're doing is working for you, don't stop doing that just because it's something that you've heard over the past couple of days. Continue doing that, but just add these little technical trinkets to it and just improve it.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.